There's something about going hunting with someone that presses the fast forward button on a friendship. There are no job titles on a mountainside, no social media filters, just newfound friends navigating rock, weather, and fatigue together. You see grit, you see doubt, you see determination. Success reveals character, but failure reveals it faster. Conversations that would feel forced in a living room become natural under a tarp in the rain. Regardless of the reason, hunting forages bonds quickly and deeply. Great memories and lifelong friendships are shaped on windy ridgelines and beside smoky fires, places where we often show a side of ourselves we don't show anyone else. This episode is dedicated to all the friendships made on a mountain.
I would say we started guiding and outfitting because we found the true meaning of happiness and the true meaning of joy while hunting. It started as a family tradition, something we got involved since we were kids, and it got into us. We embraced it and we made it our way of living. When I met Rafa, he had been guiding for many years for different companies, and he just started his own company as a freelance. He told me that we should do this together, turn it into a family business, and spread our values, our vision of hunting and how hunting is related with faith, family, and bringing food to the table. Well, in my case, I got it mainly from my grandmother. She was a great hunter. And by the time she started hunting, it was really weird to see a woman hunting in Spain in those years. And she's the one that teach me mostly everything. And now we want to spread this to the future generations.
You know, coming over to Spain was something I really wasn't sure that I ever was going to have happen. When I met Sue Ann, Kinney, I just felt something really warm about her. She was such a sweet person. And we were just visiting and talking, and she mentioned that she would like to get a Mouflon in Spain and asked me if I would ever want to go. And I said, you know, I've heard about Spain. It's beautiful, and I didn't have any plans, but if you want to go, I will go with you. And so I told her, I said, if we go to Spain, I'd like to talk to Rafa and Lucia. And I felt like they were like my kids' family. I just absolutely love them. I knew if I ever was going to go to Spain, that was going to be the people I wanted to go with.
Right in the center.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Let's go.
So when you saw that one, he was young.
It was like between 7 and 8 years old, just for the color of the hair. It's light, yes. Light color means young Billy, darker means old Billy.
So
And
it needs to be like all black, that means really old?
Yeah.
Okay.
And sometimes there's full black body and the face is white.
Oh.
That's what we are looking for, a big old Billy with 13 years old plus.
Rafa was talking about the area, and he was explaining to me how we're just starting to go into rut. So they were in pre-rut, they weren't in full rut. So he said, we don't have a lot of time, and there was weather moving in. And he explained that the Ibex do not like the rain. They will bed down, hunker down, and you won't be able to see them. We still were gonna make the best out of the situation and go out and try. That's all we could do. So as we were dropping down into the valley, we saw an Ibex, and it was black, and so we immediately stopped and hunkered down and looked, and it was a mature Ibex, but Rafa said, it's not as big as what I want to look for. I want to look for a bigger one. So it was nice and mature and beautiful, but it wasn't the right one. So we just decided to keep on hiking around and going around the valley. And we saw a female, and she was by herself grazing, and we thought, okay, well, we'll just go to that area, just one female, though the weather was bad, it was raining, there was fog, but where we were at, we could see enough. Rafa was in front, and he says, Cari, and he motioned to me, drop down, and there was a black dot, and I knew when I looked in the black dot, when I picked up my binoculars, I could tell that was gonna be a big Gredos Ibex, and Rafa says, Cari, that's the right one.
So we wounded the animal, and the animal ran and disappeared. So we tried to find any piece of blood or something. We decided to relax a bit, call a dog for helping us. And just Cari and me start talk about and praying for the suffering of the animal, to try to find him, that kind of stuff. And when we finished to pray, for praying, I was the one carried the binos of Cari, and she just asked me, where is my binos? And I just gave it to her, and in that moment she just put the binos in her eyes, and she told me, Rafa, I think that I'm seeing the animal. I just seen one animal laying down. I don't know if Terrence take a video of my face, but it was like, I'm freaking me out, like, whoa, this is your trophy, so we have to run. When you pray, the things happens, and you will see my face in the video. I almost cried because something special happens in that moment. It was incredible. I'm never gonna forget that hunt, never in my life.
Oh, he's getting up, he's getting up.
I felt a massive weight lift off my shoulders as I walked up to this ibex. I was so thankful God answered my prayer so this incredible animal could be recovered as quickly as possible. Rafa showed me something I'll never forget. He said a couple years ago, a fire burned these mountains, and the ibex in this area struggled to survive the following year. And the growth ring from that year is much smaller than all the other growth rings. I knew immediately there was a gospel message in that experience. We all go through hard times in our lives, from loss, depression, sickness, injury, or whatever it may be. But unlike an ibex, our hardships don't always show for people to see, and sometimes the growth rings that show the least amount of growth are really the years we grew the most.
I started hunting basically at 50 years old. Well, I went to a sportsman show down in Utah, and I won a $5 tag for an elk hunt. The hunt's been on ever since. And the elk, they're just magnificent. That's my favorite. It went from elk to goat to deer to sheep. Oh my gosh, it went to sheep. And I shot my first sheep, and I said, I'll never do this again. And next thing you know, I have 3 slams. I made it up the mountain, but there was a lot of people helping me. Cari and I spoke, just met. And she said, what would you like to do? And I said, well, I'd like to shoot a Ibex or a Mouflon. And next thing you know, we're in Spain hunting. The first week here, the weather wasn't conducive to find anything because it was raining and fog. And we saw nothing but small ibex. And then we decided to go for the Mouflon. Traveled, 9 hours from where we were, but we spent the night on the way and then got in the car and did it again the next day. Got to the little village and they had spotted a couple of Mouflon. He was beautiful. He was in the field on his knees eating with his butt toward us. And next thing you know, he turned sideways and we harvested him. Amazing, amazing day. Beautiful ram, nice curl. The coats on these things are just beautiful, black and white. And then probably half an hour, 45 minutes, they spotted another one and Cari went after it and was very successful.
Whenever you want.
We heard a shot and Sue Ann got a Mouflon. And so by the time she ended up coming back, we were so excited for her. And I looked in my binoculars, I said, Rafa, I said, I see something up there. If you look up and you go to the left, and it was far away. And he looked up, he says, Cari, that's a nice Mouflon. We need to go after that. We had to leave Sue Ann and Luthia, and we had to position ourselves and move farther up. Had to hurry because obviously the sheep were moving and eating and moving, and they don't just stay in one place very long. It's straight up. He gave me the distance and he says, do you think you could shoot off of this? And I said, I can do it. So I didn't really get much of a rest or anything, so I literally had to kind of just make sure I had him in. And he says, do you see him? And I said, yes, I see his butt.
Okay, Cari. Yes.
And the Mouflon was down. And then the work began, because we had to go and hike up the mountain and go see what we harvested. And the Mouflon, the colors of him was absolutely beautiful because he was dark, and then he had some brown reddish, and then he had white, and he was a full curl. And Rafa was counting the rings, and he ended up being 11 years old, and it was the second oldest Mouflon taken out of that area. They said that they usually don't get that old because the winters are so intense and so hard that they can't physically survive it. So, you know, not only harvesting a beautiful full curl Mouflon sheep, but knowing the fact that that Mouflon was not gonna make it through the winter. And he lived his life, and he was to the fullest of 11 years old, made it even more special.
Well, this is awesome. It's just a lifetime dream.
I agree. Thank you for coming. Thank you for having me. Like, you're like, Cari, let's go to Spain. I'm like, all right, let's go. What are we gonna hunt?
I don't know. Let's just go. We'll find out. Yeah, we made it happen. We showed up and we're here. It's just amazing. Later that evening, I guess we decided to come back and try for another round for my ibex. Little ride and another 9-hour drive. Stopped over and spent the night, got in the car and came back again and went straight up on the mountain, which I thought we were spotting. And they found one and we took off and he was in range. But geez, he was just right standing broadside on a peak, but he had some female behind him. So we waited until they moved, and he did too. So I was telling myself, don't get in your brain, don't get in your brain, keep up, just set it aside until later. Let's keep going. And she said, well, we need to turn back. It's going to get dark. I said, go, 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 go. Don't quit now, we're so close. I made a shot a little fast, but he kept going with the herd. So we hiked some more around the cliffs, and he separated from the females, and I was able to harvest him. It was a yay day. It was wonderful. Another success. We celebrated. The girls did it again. It was wonderful. I'm just so glad I had the chance to experience this, the hunt, the country, the food, the animals, and being with people that have the same type of mindset. It was great. I've been pretty lucky. I really, really, really have. They said, if you want to start late in life, we're going to give you something special. And they did.